Hello, hello. Welcome to the activities section workshop today on my YouTube channel, Badass College Apps with Admissions Mom. I'm Carolyn, also known as Admissions Mom, and I'm so lucky to have Carly here with me. I hear a recording. Where's that coming from? Anyway, Carly, tell us about you, and then I'll talk a little bit more about me.
I'm Carly. I'm from Applying to College. I do both the Discord server and the Reddit. I'm currently in Portland, Oregon, but I'm originally from San Diego. If you have any questions about applying to college, feel free to let me know, especially about the Discord. I'm on there a lot, so feel free to let me know if you have anything or if you just want to talk.
Yeah, great. So we are so excited to have you all here. Would love to know where you're from, what you're thinking about, how you're feeling today. So if you're with us, just come say hi in the chat. Let me know where you're from. We like to have a chatty chat going on so we can be talking about college admissions things. So let me see if anybody's there. I'll give you a minute to join in. And if nobody wants to come say hi, if you're feeling shy, that's okay too. Those of you watching this later, welcome. I'm so happy to have you here with us too. I know a lot of you can't watch at the times that we have the live streams, but you can come watch later. So don't hesitate to reach out. While I'm kind of getting started, I'm going to tell you some ways to get in touch with me if you have questions. Anybody who attends my live streams, whether you're live or you watch it later, you can have access to any of my resources. You can reach out to me on my college admissions mom email that Carly's going to type in for you. And it's admissionsmoma2c@gmail.com. If you tell me that, hey, I went to the activities section workshop, then just say, hey, I went to the activities section workshop. And then I will send you a way that I can review your activity section for you. And I'll be happy to do it. I have some guidelines that you have to do, that you have to go through in order to send it to me. So it's formatted where I can give comments. But please send them to me. I'd love to look over them after this, after you've worked on it. I generally look at my Admissions Mom A2C Gmail account on the weekends or on Mondays. And I also review essays for those who attend my live streams. So reach out if you want the guidelines about those, and I'll be happy to send those all to you. And I would still love for you to say hello in the chat if you're out there and you want to talk, or just jump in with questions. Before we get started, Carly, we are going to do a little bit of a meditation today to just kind of ground us and bring us here. Those of you who are watching later, I hope that you will definitely join in too. So what I want you to do is just put your feet on the ground and kind of feel the ground. I want everybody to be here in the moment, whether you're watching right now or whether you're watching later. I just want you to be in this moment. And what I want you to do is take your eyes and look over to your left at something in the distance and just focus on it and take 3 breaths. Okay, good. Come back to center. And then take your eyes and focus on something over to your right. And anything, doesn't matter what, anything, just kind of in the distance, and take 3 breaths. Great. Now come back to center and just look down. You can close your eyes or not, totally up to you, but just look down, focus on your hands if you want to keep your eyes open. And we're going to take 4 breaths this time. Okay, look up. Now we're going to actually stand up. So I'm going to move my camera a little bit so you can see me. Carly, you going to join me? Awesome. I didn't warn you about this. Okay. So I want you just to shake your hands. We're just kind of getting ourselves in the moment, and shake your arms, shake your head, shake your whole body, and then just swoosh down. And then come back up. Okay. So now, hopefully you are here with me in the moment. Let me move that down. and we can get ready to start working on our activities. But the reason I wanted to get you in the moment is because I know there's so much going on with you right now with college admissions. I know that you're feeling overwhelmed by trying to get your essays done and by trying to do your schoolwork and by trying to get your activities section figured out. And I'm getting these messages from you all the time. And I really just like, I think one of the most important things to remember, in addition to all the work you have to do, is to take care of yourself. And sometimes that means just taking 1 minute to ground yourself and figure out where you are and just connect with where you are in time and space, because your brain is all over the place right now, but you are right here. And so you need to kind of just try to be there wherever you are, whatever you're working on. And so right now we're going to be here working on activities, and we're just going to dive right in. Is anybody out there who wants to say hello yet? I'd love for you to say hello. And if you're coming in late, just jump in and say hello whenever you get there. But I'm going to dive in and just start talking to you about what the activities section is. So, okay. Yeah, so this is our activities section workshop that we'll be working on. So what counts as an activity? I think this is really important to keep in mind, and this is a big time question that we get all the time on the subreddit on A2C. Basically, anything you do outside of, oh, yay, hey, Gain, nice to see you. I'm going to put you up here so everybody can see. Hi, nice to see you. Thanks for coming today, all the way from India. I hope that we can be helpful. Don't hesitate to jump in and ask questions if you have them. We'd love to hear from you. So what are activities? Anything you do outside of classwork, homework, or test prep can be an activity. So that's any job you have, internships, family and home responsibilities. If you have to take care of your siblings, or if you have to take care of your grandparents or help your parents with things, that all counts. I wrote zombie hunter here because it's kind of a joke, but personal projects that you do, things that you're interested in, things that you care about, that you spend time on, those count as activities. Independent research that you do, that counts as an activity. And of course, there's always the typical research that you do in a lab or with a mentor, your internships, community service, clubs and sports, you know all that. But sometimes kids don't realize that like their job counts, or helping take care of grandma counts, or this hobby that they spend all their time on counts as an activity. So just be a little bit more open-minded, expand your brain about what you know can be considered an activity. Colleges actually really love to see jobs, and they love to see that you care about your family and that you're taking your time to do that. So don't hesitate to write those if there's something that you actually do and they're meaningful to you and they take up a substantial amount of your time. That's what MIT says. I can't read it because it's too small, but I'm going to let you read that on your own later. Basically, they just say, like, it's not a costume party. Like, just be yourself. Like, just show us who you are. So, step one, as we start thinking about the activities that you're doing, is going to be to fill out this big, colorful activities spreadsheet that I'm going to show you in a minute. And actually, maybe I'll just figure if I can show you now. Let's see. I see we have a couple more people joined. If y'all want to tell us where you're from and how you're doing, we'd love that. While I'm getting organized, that'd be great. Okay, let's see. Present, share screen, share this screen, share. This takes me a while doing this part. Okay, so now, Carly, can you see my big colorful activities spreadsheet when I move this out of the way?
Yeah, I can see it.
Okay, cool. All right, so this is the big colorful activities spreadsheet that I'm talking about. The reason I like for you to do this before you start to write your activities is because it allows you to think about all the different ways that you have been involved in your activities, and specifically in the ways that colleges that I've heard and learned from them want to know about. So you're going to fill this out first. So you're going to have all your jobs and work here. You can include internships there. School clubs, obviously you can play with this, and you have access to this in the resources that I've linked for you. Other clubs, sports, family responsibilities, community service, independent hobbies, just list them all. And obviously you can create more or fewer spaces in each one. Then you're going to have your leadership title, whatever that is. So if you had a leadership role, you definitely want to share that. Colleges like to see leadership, but they also recognize that leadership isn't only in the name of a title. So don't worry if you don't have a leadership title. You're going to write the basics of what you did. So this will be like, just probably the stuff colleges might even know a lot about. So you don't need to necessarily include it, but that's where you write this. And then now we're getting into what the colleges want to know about. So problems that you've solved in this activity. Was there an issue that you were the one who kind of helped them to get over it, or any problems you solved? Lessons you learned. What did you learn about yourself, about the activity, and what can you share with colleges? They can't know that because that's in your head. So impact you had. So if there's anything qualitative here that you can share, awards you got, amount of people you brought in, anything with numbers that you can share here, plus impact that you had maybe on the activity. You can also talk about impact the activity had on you. And then just the basic things, the years and the grades that you did it, the weeks per year, and your hours per week. And I'll be talking to you more about how to figure this out and as we move forward. But I just wanted you to see this big activity sheet. It's a good place to get started because you're not having to think about character count yet. When you just try to do it, jump on straight into the Common App, it's really frustrating because you've got this character count issue. So here you can just write down all this stuff, and then you can go through and be thinking about it. You do not have to fill out all of these columns for every activity. Don't feel like you do. Maybe there are definitely activities you didn't solve a problem. It's no big deal. Maybe there are activities that you didn't really feel like you learned anything from. I'm not sure if you want to include those activities, but you can still write them all down. You also don't have to fill out all of these sections here over in the activity section. If you don't have it, just leave it out or take it off your sheet. Okay. I'm going to move that here. Stop sharing my screen. Uh-oh, now I have to get back here, add to stream. Okay. All right. Hello. Let's see who's here. We've got, hey, it's Comzur is here. Hello. Hey, it's Comzur. From the A2C gang. So happy to have you here. Anyone else want to stop and say hello before I keep moving forward? I'd also love to know where you're from because that helps me kind of visualize all over the world. So I'll let you type in. I'm going to keep going. So on that sheet, don't worry if you have more than 10. Right now is just the time to get all of your thoughts down there, anything that you have. And if you don't have 10, that's cool too. There's no rule that you have to have at least 10. All right, let's see. So, and this is what I just went through. And so you can kind of have this hand in hand. So jobs, works, internships. Do you have a job? Do you have an unpaid internship? Did you do research? That all goes there. School clubs and activities, self-explanatory, right? Anything that you did that was organized, or if you did something that was independent but in your school, then you can put that there. Outside school, clubs and activities, things you do outside school. A lot of people have scouting, religious activities, various clubs that you might want to be in national organizations that aren't school related. Sports and physical fitness. So I say sports and physical fitness because I also want you to consider, in addition to any club sports or school sports you might want to do, think about your own body and how you take care of your body. Do you take long walks every day? Do you do yoga? Do you go to the gym? All of those count. And you might potentially want to put them on there if there's something that's really important to you. So don't hesitate in this initial list to just write everything down so that you can have a really good idea when it comes to choosing what you want. Family responsibilities. A lot of kids don't realize that taking care of grandma 20 hours a week should count as a family responsibility. If you're spending the whole weekend cooking for grandma and shopping for her and making, and kind of playing games with her and making sure that she's ready for the week, that counts. That is a very important activity that colleges want to know about. So make sure that, if you're taking your siblings back and forth from school all day and you're having to drive them to all their extracurricular activities and it's taking time away from what you can do, that counts. So don't hesitate to share that with them. Community service. How have you given back to your community? That can be organized, and it can be organized, or it can be independent. It can be something you do on your own. It does not have to be that you've created your own NPO. In fact, colleges would much rather you see you use your time and money to join an organized organization or to just do something independently without having to create a nonprofit. And then independent hobbies, things that you do on your own just because you like really want to do them or they're really interesting to you. So maybe they're not organized through school, but maybe you write music. Maybe you're not in symphony at school, but you spend every day playing piano and writing music and writing songs. You don't perform it for anybody. It's not anything official, but it is something that you spend your time on. That counts. So that's all for that big spreadsheet that I just showed you. Another thing is think about what you did and what you learned. This is really important. And I talked to you about that a little bit as I showed you the spreadsheet. But leadership is not just about a title. So leadership is about how you acted. Mark Manson, who I follow on Instagram and read all his books, I love him, said, leadership is doing the shit that nobody else wants to. Show colleges that. Show colleges that you're doing the stuff that other people don't want to do. So it doesn't mean that you have a title. It doesn't mean that you have president, but you can show your leadership through the way that you write about your activities. So don't hesitate to share that. And then problems you solved, that's like, did you help somebody work through something? Was there a big problem in your club that you had to figure out? Maybe your leader or your advisor had to quit mid-year and you had to do a lot of work to scramble to get a new advisor. That's the kind of stuff that's interesting to colleges, more than just like attended meetings once a week, brought cookies or whatever you did. They want to know about the lessons you learned. This is really important to them. How did you grow as a person through this activity? What did you learn about yourself, or what did you learn about working with other people? This is all super important information to share with them. This is where they can also use it. You can use this activities section to let them get to know you a little bit, let them get to know more about your values and who you are and what you care about and what's important to you. You can use the activities section for this in addition to the essays. And impact. So this is where you've had your growth, your awards, where you can quantify and qualify everything as much as you can. And I have some details there that you can read later because you'll have access to this slide too. And then now let's talk about when and how often. I'm gonna have to make my screen a little bigger so I can see that. Okay, good. So your years and grades, that's easy. So what grades did you do the activity or the years were you involved? So if it was in summers, which summers? So think about this because summers always comes up as a question. So the summer that before the grade is that grade. So if you did something the summer before 9th grade, you would be a rising 9th grader. So that would be 9th grade. If you did something the summer before 10th grade, you would be a rising 10th grader. So that would be 10th grade, and on and on and on. So if you're a senior right now, you did something last summer, that would be a 12th grade summer. Next summer would be like a postgraduate summer. Okay, that's always a question a lot of people have. So I just want to make sure that's clear. Now, your weeks per year. This also can get really confusing to people. So, and it is confusing. You have to kind of think about it like a math problem. If you have a math brain, it can work great for you. If you don't, I'm going to try to walk you through it and you can ask me questions. Think about how many weeks you're involved throughout the year. So, do you have a school year? Was it in the school year every week? That's about 40 weeks for most kids. Some kids is 36 weeks. You can count up how many weeks you're in school. Okay, so if you went to this club every week, even if it was twice a week or 3 times a week or every day, it still would be just those weeks. So 36 weeks, 40 weeks, however many weeks you're in school. Now, if it was in the school year, but you met just once a month, most school years are about 9 or 10 months. So you would put 9 or 10 weeks because you would just be going 1 week out of that month. Does that make sense? If it was a school year, but you went twice a month, let's say your school year is 10 months, then that would be about 20 weeks. All right. If you just went for 8 weeks during the school year, like it was just February and March, then it would be 8 weeks. If it was every week, all year round, like let's say you put reading, a lot of kids like to read, and you read every day for an hour and a half a day. every single day, every single week, then that's 52 weeks. If it's something you do just once a month every year, 12 weeks, right? I think you can get this. Summers every week, about 12 weeks. Summers once a month, 3 weeks. 3 weeks over summer, 3 weeks. I think you get the picture. Carly, I'm going to stop and ask you. Do you understand all this? Does this make sense to you, or do you have any questions about it?
Usually the one I get more confused on is the hours, but I see that's the next one.
Yeah, good. Okay, so we're going to go talk about the hours next. Anybody have any of those of you out there watching, do you have questions? I can stop and answer questions if you have them. Nope. Oh, okay. If you put in reading as a hobby, let me put this. If you put in reading as a hobby, it would be 40 hours a day. You read 40 hours a day? No, it would be if you read every day an hour, right? Like you can't read 40 hours a day because there's only 24 hours in a day. So if you read every day, it would be 52 weeks. And then let's say you read an hour a day. So it'd be 7 hours a week. Does that make sense? We're going to talk about hours in a minute. Okay. Yeah, I wish I could read 40 hours a day. That would be cool. All right, hours per week. This does get confusing. So if your hours stay the same every week, I write this. I suggest you practicing a moment of gratitude to the admissions gods. But if you're like most kids, your hours vary by season or month or even week, then you got to get going on your math skills and your average. So I'm gonna share a complicated one with you. Let's say you hunt zombies year-round for about 48 weeks a year, okay? So you take 2 weeks off in the winter and 2 weeks off in the summer. So 52 weeks, but so 48 weeks a year, you're hunting zombies. Now, during the 10 weeks of summer that you're not off, you practice hunting those zombies 5 hours a day. So that's 25 hours a week for those 10 weeks. Okay, so for 10 weeks in the summer, you're doing 25 hours a week. Now, during your 12-week zombie hunting season in school, you practice 2 hours a day and have a 3-hour zombie hunting game once a week. So that's 13 hours a week for those 12 weeks. Carly, you with me so far?
Yeah.
Okay. So the rest of the year, you hunt zombies 3 days a week for 2 hours. So that's 26 weeks where you practice 6 hours a week. Got it? So now it's a math problem. So you've got your summer, the 10 weeks times 25 hours, plus your school year activity, 12 weeks times 13 hours, plus the 26 weeks when it's just kind of like part of your life times 6 hours. Then you get your total number of hours. Anybody want to figure out what that is for me? So I'll figure it out really fast. Okay. So we've got 10 times, what is it, Carly? 25 equals 250. Okay. Plus what, Carly? Let's see.
12 times 13.
13. That's 406.
It's because you have to do the times first and then add them.
Okay, so I'm just going to do the 250. Okay, hold on. Okay, so 12 times 13 equals 156. So we have 250, 156, and then 26 times 6 equals 156. Okay, so then we have 250 plus 156 plus 156 equals 562. And then we have to divide that total number of hours by the total number of weeks, which we have already said is 48. So that would be about 12 hours a week and the average. Okay. The reason I did this one is because I have a lot of kids who play sports. And so like they have like a summer sports season and they have a school sports season and then they practice for their sport year round. So that's why I kind of did this. Those seem to be the most complicated ones. Does that make sense, Carly?
Yeah, I had similar things with like kind of like work hours where I would only have like certain contract hours.
Mm-hmm. Anybody have questions about it out there? And if you're watching live stream, if you're watching it later on the channel, don't hesitate to reach out to me and ask questions. I'll pop in here again and say you can reach out to me by DMs on Reddit or Instagram. I answer those, or you can reach out to me by email at admissionsmoma2c@gmail.com. You can reach out and ask questions. I get questions all the time from kids who watch the live stream, so don't hesitate to if you're watching this later. Okay, so now we're going to go to the Common App worksheet. I'm going to show that to you really fast. But I'm going to spend more time on here talking to you about it, but I'm going to just share my screen. Present. Oh, wait. How do I do share screen? Oh, there we go. So share screen. Here, share. Okay. So Carly, can you see it?
It's loading right now. Oh, there we go. Yeah.
The Common App Activities worksheet.
Yeah.
I'm just going to show this to you really quick. So this, it's clearly, somebody can probably make a much better one for me, but I'm not that tech savvy. I wanted to do it on Google Docs though, so that you can count your characters. And I'm just going to go through one with you. Maybe Carly, we might do one of yours if you want. So the first thing that we do is you're going to put, Carly, you want to do one of yours?
Sure.
Okay. So what's one of your activities?
We could do A2C.
Okay. So A2C moderator.
Yeah.
All right. So A, Carly, is your position or your leadership position. So what is that?
I always would say community manager. That's how I would put it.
Okay, but I think you do have to have the moderator there, right?
I've heard differing things. I don't know for sure though.
Why? Talk to me about that.
The reason why is because I also have like this server as like I'm like the owner of it, I guess. So like I guess I manage it. So that's part of it.
Okay. I just think they're going to know what moderator is. I would put moderator if I were you, but it's up to you. Okay. So here, Carly, here's where you have 50 characters. So I would suggest you use those. This is where I suggest putting in like the basic information of like what you do here, kind of just like a basic description. So do you want to try to do that? You want to try to use some of that space here?
I can I'm like squinting to see the whole sheet.
Oh man, I'm sorry. Is that better?
Let me try. Oh, there, I can full screen it. Okay, that's better. Oh wow, it just got really dark for me.
I know.
Yeah.
Everybody else.
No, not the screen. My like background got really dark.
Okay.
Yeah. Let's see. For a description, I would say I wrote something down and I completely forgot what I wrote. So I've like worked on this already.
Mm-hmm.
But like, I mean, I help keep the community safe and engaged. That's part of it.
Okay. What are just some of like the basic managerial roles you have to do?
I mean, I've done outreach to schools. Like on the Discord, we did outreach to USC, and like they came on.
Okay, cool. And then you can count your characters. Remember, this one has to stay under 50. You go here, characters, so that's 72. So we're gonna have to go back over. So let's just stay here with keep community. Let's see if we got under 50 here. Yep, 50.
Oh, wow.
Okay. So then the next one is B. So B is organization name. So that's where we'll write applying to college. This is going to be Discord or the Reddit.
Am I able to combine them and just say like a community that like, and then just because they kind of do the same thing in a sense. They just use two platforms.
Okay. I would then definitely list them, Discord, Reddit. And then here you can describe also what you do here. So this is the basics again of like what you do here. You can use the space. You get 100 characters here. So you want to use this space. So what are some other basic things that you do here to kind of manage it? So I would put things like here, Carly, like, oh yeah, you did get dark. I would put like Moderate posts, remove posts, like just kind of like the basics of like what it means to be a moderator, but not like your life lessons yet. So remove post, okay post, generate, like what is the stuff that you do when you're creating like the linked post, like all those things?
I generate announcements like
Yeah.
for events. That's part of it.
Yeah. Okay. I would put remove and approve post because that's kind of an important thing.
Okay.
Let's see where we are. So 105. So that we got to get. So here's another trick here. So always use ampersands. And then generate event announcements. So we can get rid of that 4. And that might do it. Let's see.
I think you have events twice.
Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. You're right. So that will do it. Okay, so now, here's another cool trick. We can put our display count here. Do characters, so your character count is good there. Okay, and now C is where you really describe what you do, but this also is going to be the part where you're talking about what you've learned, what you've accomplished, recognition you've received, impact it's had on you, impact you've done on the community, grown the community, all those kind of things, like anything you can give qualitative here. And we have 150 characters here. So what do you think is most important for them to know?
I mean, the community's grown a lot, like member number for sure. I don't know if that's considered important.
Yeah. So members have grown to what?
I think I started when we were at like 180,000. Now we're at like 940.
Where's my plus sign? Okay.
Let's see. Recognition you received. I don't know if this counts directly, but I helped with the Wall Street Journal article we got. I wasn't directly mentioned though. That's the thing.
I think that coordinated with Wall Street Journal or article about K2C.
Yeah.
Okay. What about learn? What have you learned about yourself by doing it?
Do skills count? Like skills I've learned?
Yeah, absolutely.
Because I would say I've improved my communication skills.
Okay. Anything else?
Do you have any ideas?
I can think about what I've learned. I mean, I guess I've learned to kind of like pay attention to the way I write things. I think you've learned. I think your leadership skills are outstanding, Carly. The way you work with the other moderators and you train moderators. So, do you feel like you've increased your leadership skills?
Yeah, I'd say that.
By training new moderators. Okay, let's just say this is great. I mean, it's going to be over the word count, but then we'll think. Okay, so word count is 182, and we only get 150 here. So member, then you just kind of play with words here. Growth, and we can probably get rid of that from. Coordinated and maybe worked with.
Mm-hmm.
Journal. Okay, where are we? Let's see, 167. Increased leadership skills by training, improved communication. Can we just say improved communication, increased leadership? And now we're at what? 153. We got to get rid of 3 characters. Article about. Let me probably get rid of there. Okay.
Can you do that where you like do you don't write about them full?
You can things that are easily recognizable, you can do.
Okay.
The other thing, if you're not comfortable with that, you could write it out, and you could also, I think most of them would understand what WSJ is, but just in case, like that's something kind of cool and important, I would want to write it out.
Okay.
Okay. All right. So now let me put this to the side. Got your little lesson there. I'm going to stop screen. Wait, how do I stop sharing?
Oh, there.
Okay. All right. So that was the Common App worksheet that we were just working on. So if you use the Google Doc character counts to help you do it, and I kind of show you how to get that, use phrases that begin with strong verbs. In your folder that you're going to get that's linked in here, and if you can't figure out how to link it, you can just email me and ask me for it, or Carly. She can also figure out a way to get it to you. You're going to have a list of strong verbs that you can use. Actually, I have 2 lists of strong verbs for you to pull from that might give you some ideas. I like to see, some people write sentences. I like to see phrases that begin with strong verbs because then you're not wasting time on pronouns. That's up to you. Focus on putting what you did. As you saw that we used those first 2 categories, the A and B, and used all those characters. You can get that stuff out of the way. So then in C, you can really focus on like the deeper things. And then I give you this example for like the zombie hunter here. Then you add your years and grades, hours and months, all that. Okay. I like to throw this in here when I'm talking about activities because sometimes you have an activity that is so important to you that you really feel like they need to know more. And maybe the colleges aren't asking a YEC essay. So you really feel like they need to know more about it. You can use your additional info section. I'll get to that in a second, Shadow. I have had many students use the additional info section and have great success with their college admissions, especially kids applying to the highly rejected colleges. They use every space that they can. So if you need to use the additional info section to tell them about one of your activities more in depth, do that. Just make sure that you're not repeating things and that you're not going over about 2 to 250 words. Think of it as like a real YEC essay. You can also, if you have way more than 10 activities that are legit, that are really important to you, that you feel like they need to know about, you can also use that. You can make an activities section in your activities section. We usually call it like additional activities not listed in the activities section. And then use the same format. You can use this, that Common App activities worksheet. Use that same format, same word count, same character count, so that they're not getting overflowed by it. And you can put a few things. I have had students add up to 10 things because it can get really tricky. All right, I'm going to stop now and look at a question here. Okay, Shadow says, how can I describe this activity? It's a bit unique. I participated in online competitions and I lead a group of 30 members and personally won. Okay, personally won over $800 at the time from winning these events, received rewards in crypto, and I don't know if to include that. First of all, yeah, I would definitely include this. I don't know, so because I have no idea what kind of competition it is it like, but you could say whatever the name of the competition is, right? And just put online competitions. The leadership part, you could either put in your name as a leader. So if you have like a title, you can put that there into the B. That's what I call the leadership title. I know the A is a leadership title. And then you could put lead group of 30 plus members. Okay. And then in your description part in the C is where you would put how much money you won in the events, and then anything else that you learned from these activities, what you learned about leading this group of people. Why did you do it? Like, why was this even meaningful to you other than the money? Why was it important to you? That's how I would do it. But I definitely think it's something you should describe. It's interesting to me. I don't know what the online competitions are. If they're just like various online competitions that you get people to go be part of, that's cool. Just call it various online competitions. Did that answer your question, Shadow? It seems like you have a lot of details there already. Okay. So anyway, talking about the additional info, don't forget. Oh, and so if you do have an activity you need to go into more depth on. So let's say Carly is like, you know what? There's no way they're going to understand everything that I did as an A2C moderator on Discord in both the subreddit. Like that is where I spend my entire life. Like there's no way they're going to understand the depth of that. I'm going to just put in the additional info section. I'm going to show you how to do it. I'm going to share my screen. Let's see. Present, share screen. Screen 2, share. Okay. So if Carly's like, they just have to know more. What we would probably do is I think I'd take this out, Carly, for this one, and then write see additional info. And then we have to make sure we're within our character count. We are. And you could actually even write it out if you want, because you've got space here. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing that. Stop screening that. Yeah, there we go. Oops, let me get this back there. Okay, so you can definitely do see additional info section. And then Carly, like if you wanted to write a little bit more so they could really understand the depth of what you do and how important it was to you, write another like 150, 200 word essay about it, just like you would for a school that asked a YEC essay, okay? Or you could do a bullet point thing, you know, kind of like whatever works for you and your personality. All right, let's see the question here. Though I do wonder, should I include the fact that I won money in cryptocurrency and I don't know the names of some of the competitions? Interesting. So I would just put various online competitions. I won the money in cryptocurrency. I personally don't understand why that would be an issue, but maybe I'm not savvy enough to understand like why cryptocurrency would be a problem. So if you are more savvy and you know that some people would have issue with that, then you could just say like, yeah, won over $800 in prizes, right? Okay, let's see. This wasn't an official thing. I created a group of people in Discord and we participated in. I think that sounds really cool. I would just like what you just said right there is awesome. I think you should definitely tell them. So you could put various online competitions, Discord group, you know, Discord group for various online competitions, the leader, and talk about what you did to lead them. And then bring in these various things in your descriptions. You can use this. We've participated in competitions that involve decryption, web scraping, solving puzzles in the first two, and like what your title was, and in the group title. And then you can use the other to kind of talk about your personal growth, money you made, things like that. That's a really cool one, by the way. Carly, any questions about adding additional info?
I don't think so.
Okay. Then you also have to decide your order. So this is kind of important in describing your order. Here's what I tell all my students. Imagine that something bad happens when they've gotten to your fifth activity. So they spill coffee on their keyboard. The zombie bangs on their door. The cat comes and knocks everything over. So they're going to have read those first 5 activities, and they might think they understand your activities, so they don't go back to them, okay? So imagine they only see those first 5. So you really want to make sure that the first 5 are the most important. And then you want to put those in order. Also, they might get bored. I'm not going to lie. I mean, you know, they're reading thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of your applications. This is going to get 60 to 90 seconds of their time. And if they're bored by those first few and they're like, whatever, like typical, you know, like I'm just going to go put whatever. So you want to make sure you get your first 5 most important to you at that top. So here's how I suggest what goes first. It's like this weird, we're back to math, right? And I don't even like math that much. Rank them in descending order, highest value first. So here's the math problem. Most meaningful, important to you times the most years you've done it, and include like the ones that you're doing now or that maybe you just stopped junior year. So you don't want something that you did like from 1st grade through 9th grade. That they don't care about that. So it's the most years you've done it while in high school. And hours per week. So how important it is to you, how long have you done it, and how many hours per week have you done it? The reason why that all comes in there is you might think that like taking care of grandma isn't that important to you, but if you're doing it for 4 years, for 20 hours a week, that's going to bump that up. So you need to be thinking about that, like what's taken the most time plus is meaningful, important to you. And this note is here from Scholar Grade, and I'm going to read it to you because he's great at activities. Order matters. I'll add a little nuance. You have control over your order and you can use it strategically. So for example, if you work a part-time job in fast food, the reviewer probably knows what that entails. But if you do an internship or research, that's way more open-ended, even if the research and internship is fewer hours per week. So you might want to list that higher because it's a little more intellectually challenging. I'm going to argue with him a little bit and say that if you learned a lot of really great things in your job that you can talk about as far as responsibility, as far as motivation, as far as learning to work with others, then I'm not saying, I don't think that either one should go on top of the other. It's all about what the meaning is to you. But I like to put his words in there because you know what? There are a lot of us out there talking about college admissions. There are a lot of people giving you various advice. It's your job to listen to it, to absorb it, to decipher it, and to figure out what works best for you. There's not one right or wrong way to apply to college, and that applies to activities, that applies to your essays, that applies to your list. Like, it is all about what works best for you. And then he talks about how impressiveness doesn't matter. I'm going to leave this for you. You can read that later, but it's a good thing, and you'll have access to all of these slides. Step 5, then you add them to the activities section. Once you've added them, then make sure they're in the order you want. You can use those arrows to move them up and down, and then be sure to go to the top of the page on Common App and hit preview. Make sure it looks like you want it to look. Check for typos. I like to see words capitalized between commas. Check for any issues and may be consistent. However you choose to format it, just be consistent throughout so their eyes don't have to readjust every time they look at another one. I suggest using commas, semicolons, and capital letters for every new thought, but you decide what works for you and just be consistent with it. Final tips. The activities section is really important, so take your time with it. I feel like in many ways it can be more important than your personal essay because this is talking about what you've done for the last 4 years of your life. So not just what you decide to sit down and talk about, in one day. Dig in and figure out what's important to you to share about. Remember those jobs, family responsibilities, personal hobbies and interests all count. And remember, leadership doesn't have to come in the form of a title. You can describe your leadership in ways that let them know that you were a leader, even if you weren't given a title. Remember, leadership is doing the shit nobody else wants to do. Use the character counts provided for you. You get more character counts in some of the other sections that you might not be using. And I think that's it. That was it for this one. I am going to answer questions now for those of you who are here. If you have questions, and if you have questions that are not just about the activities section, I'm totally cool with answering those right now. So I'm going to be quiet for a minute or just like sit here and see if you have questions about the activities. And if not, then we will be done for the day today. But I do want to see if you have activities. So, if you have questions before I close off. Carly, do you have any questions about your activity section?
Where are the arrows on the Common App? I don't immediately see them. That might be like a dumb question.
Oh, no, that's an excellent question. Let me get on the Common App. Yeah, that's an excellent question. I'm going to just sign in so I can show you. Oh, but I don't have any activities on mine. So I don't know that I'm going to be able to be that helpful. Are you in the transfer application? Because goodness knows they might have a different way.
Yeah, I'm on the transfer.
They might not have them.
Hmm.
Let me see. You want to see if you can share your screen?
Yeah, I could
I'll
try.
share my screen. I can show the kids. And let me share first, and then I want to see yours. Okay. So activities section is in the Common App tab. This is a new Common App account for me. So, and then go to the activities. Okay. I have activities to share. I'm just going to put art, president. I'm not filling it out and using the things like I should be here. Okay. Painted. 9, 10, 11, 12 during school year, 5 hours a week, 20 weeks a year. Yes. Okay. Add another activity. And so there's my arrow.
Oh, it's on. Let's see.
So I could move activity 1 down if I want, and then activity 2 could go up. And so once you get them, then all the arrows are there. I don't know about, let's see, let me stop screen. Yeah, I don't know about transfer. You should be able to share your screen.
Yeah, let me see
Might
if I
help
can change it up. Which one is it? I think it's this one. Can you see it? It's like this.
Okay, yeah, so add an experience. Get it bigger.
This is add an experience.
And then once you get them, then you can't change them.
Like,
Yeah.
do I fill one in and then the arrows come up?
Have you not filled one in yet?
I have 3 right now.
Yeah, so what about, so if you edit it, it just lets you edit it, right? Not all, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think for transfer you're going to be able to do that, unfortunately. Yeah, we'll have to look at that a little more carefully. But I know for sure you can do it for freshmen. Okay, so it doesn't look like there are any questions today, so I am going to finish this off. I am going to say, reach out to me, those of you watching later, come find me, and I'll be happy to check over your activities, and I'll be happy to talk to you and answer your questions. And again, it's, I'll just put my admission, if I could type, admissionsmoma2c@gmail.com, or you can find me at admissionsmom on Instagram, or you admissionsmom on Reddit. Those are the easiest ways to find me. You can also go to my website. Oh, you know what? Let me just put my website here. Admissions Mom. All of my blogs are there, and so like every single thing I write or share for my curriculum for my private students, it's all on my blog. It's also all on Reddit. If you go to my profile page, you can find everything there. Reason is because I'm a big believer in college access, and I want students who can't afford to work with a private counselor, who don't want to work with a private consultant for some reason whatsoever, for whatever reason, to have the information that is available out there. So I put everything out there, and that's it for me. Carly, any last thoughts for you?
I don't think so.
All right. Thank you so much for being here today and being my guinea pig. It's good to work with you. Thank you all. Thank you later. Reach out if you have questions. Bye-bye.